Hi everyone, just before we get into another episode of What a Load of Boules, we just want to give a shout out to our partners, Newcastle Car and Truck Rental. Newcastle Car and Truck Rental are a locally owned company servicing Newcastle and the Hunter. Todd Holden and family pride themselves on being part of the local community, and you feel that when you step through their doors. It isn't a different person every time you call, it's the same people taking care of business and taking care of you. So next time you're in need of a rental, be it a truck to move, a ute for those everyday DIY jobs, or a car to get the family around on a day out, be sure to contact the team at Newcastle Car and Truck Rental by visiting www.newcastlerental.com or by calling 02 49 081 081. And don't forget to tell them DJ and Simon sent you. Welcome back to What a Load of Boules, the podcast where the bias is strong, the banter is stronger, and today we're rolling into episode 68. Now, for those of you that are familiar, we are based in Australia. I still can't say the number 8 properly, so Simon, welcome back, mate. I'm going to pass over to you, translate. What episode are we actually doing?
We are doing episode 68.
68. 8, mate. How are you, buddy? It's been 2 weeks.
I am fantastic. It's been good couple of weeks, but look, I'm glad to be back. We're back into our fortnightly podcast, and for those who are new to us, new episode comes out every fortnight, so make sure you follow us on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, and you get that episode to you as soon as it comes live. So glad to be back. What about you, DJ?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Good to be back chatting. Plenty of stuff's happened in the last fortnight or so. Plenty of associations and things giving us plenty to talk about, so that's good, and we'll keep doing that. And we might even get some of them back on the show to have a chat about things too, mainly talking about World Boules. You don't hear anything from them for a little while, and all of a sudden it's just like an Ulster bus, mate. There's 2 at a time, and 3 at a time, and 4 at a time. Just so this time last year we had a heap of announcements, and we got them again too. So we'll get into that in a second. It's good to see you as well, mate. It is Commonwealth Games year. We've mentioned it every episode so far this year. England and Canada have announced their sides. Australia had their test series over in Malaysia. They've narrowed that side down. They're taking 4 men, 4 women, 4 para over to Scotland for a test series. So they've pretty much showed their hand there, I reckon.
They have, yeah.
I think you can pretty much. I think the men's is all but locked in. The women's maybe a couple of spots to play for still, but we'll leave that as is. They're heading over to Scotland for a multi-nations event as well, which I think Ireland will also be part of, and they're getting very close to finalising their squad too, is what my little birdies back at home tell me. Getting ready for the outdoor season over there too, mate. I can see a couple of draws coming out. The Irish Cup draws out, mate. We always love playing the Irish Senior Cup. However, I did notice no Ulster Transport and no Portadown in the Senior Cup, mates. They have gone downhill since we left.
They have. Just not the same.
It's not the same, mate, at all. So, let's get into it. Obviously, then, mate, we've got Platinum Pennant coming up as well, which is good. We're right sort of in the midst of that. That kicked off there last weekend, so we can talk a bit about that. But let's start with some of the World Boules stuff that came out, mate. So, first cab off the rank, World Boules announced the first ever America's qualifier for the World Championships in 2027. So, there's going to be an event held over in America that all the smaller nations over there will get a chance to play in. So it's the American Regions World Championship Qualifier. Long Beach, California, USA. That's coming up very, very soon. You're going to have the likes of Jamaica, Canada, Brazil, Argentina, and the USA participating, all trying to win one spot in the singles, pairs, triples, and fours events at the World Championships in 2024. So, mate, what do you think about that? It's great to see the event expanding, isn't it?
Definitely. It's good to see the likes of that region anyway, that there's a chance for people to qualify and get through to the big events, and that's what we want. We want those smaller, the so-called sort of minnow nations. We want those to prosper, and we want more competition for the big boys and the big countries in our sport. So we want to see some competitive players come out of those countries, and this is the kind of event that happens and makes that happen. So glad to see that, and World Boules kicking some goals there in terms of these kind of events coming out and helping to get these off the ground. So really good there.
Absolutely. So the 2027 World Championships is going to have the top 12 finishers, nations, not just people, but nations from the 2023 World Championships. And there's going to be 12 more places that are allocated out by region. So that'll all be coming up as the regional qualifiers come up. And the first one off the rank, as we said, is the Americas one. So it's great to see that. What else has World Boules announced this time, mate? The World Boules series rankings have been updated. We'll start with the women. We'll just go top 5. Dawn Heyman, 860 points. She's ahead of Emily Kernick. Emma Soroji in 3rd. Selena Goddard in 4th. And Alani Jamil from Malaysia in 5th. She's just ahead of our big friend and fan, Kelly McCarrahan.
Yep.
So she is. And in the men's rankings, little known fella Paul Foster MBE leads the rankings there from Corey Wedlock, only by a couple of points. Ross Owen next up, Jason Banks, and then Gary Kelly is the top 5 at the minute with he's just 1 point ahead of Izzat Shamir from Malaysia. So that's how the World Series rankings are going, folks. You can jump onto the World Series, worldbowlseries.com, and check out all those. And you can also check out a lot of the different events that are on, and then the World Series finals that'll be happening later in the year as well. So, yeah, great initiative for the World Series. Dawn Heyman, our first women's World Series winner, still holding the number 1 spot. And the first men's winner, Gary Kelly, holding on to 5th there as well. So all those players are trying to rack up those points from all the different events to try and get to the World Series final later in the year. And I like that setup, man. I think it's going to get bigger and better, and hopefully with a lot of buy-in from the players, those World Series finals could really, really take off. So yeah, it's good to see. Good to see a lot of buy-in.
Absolutely.
What's next, mate? World Bowls have joined with the World Petanque and Bowls Federation, which means that gets them one step closer to IOC recognition.
Oh,
what can you tell us about that, Simon?
Yeah, look, it's something that you said before we started recording that they were part of that in the past. They had joined them, and so we've got back sort of with World Petanque and Bowls Federation, and now because of that, and because they've sort of joined with World Bowls has joined with World Petanque, we are now sort of recognized by the IOC. So absolutely fantastic. And there's been a lot of hard work going on behind the scenes, and a few little birdies have told us, DJ off record, with regards to all the hard work that's been going on. This is not something that's just happened the last couple of months. This has been going on for a long time. So I'm good to see that it's came to fruition and it's happened, because it's one more step closer to that Brisbane 32. And whether it be bowls itself or para bowls, like, we want to get our sport on that global stage and get that exposure that we want for our sport. So well done to everyone involved in around World Bowls for making that happen and being part of that. So yeah, fantastic news, eh?
Absolutely, man. As you said, it's been a long time in the making. I remember sitting watching the Brisbane 2032 game in Kuala Lumpur. Do you know I was there? I've been in Kuala Lumpur.
You did mention it a few times, yes.
KL, as for those that have been there.
You and Barry, yep, correct.
The president of the World Petanque and Bowls Federation was there, front and centre. So he was watching on. So he'd come all the way from France to Kuala Lumpur just to watch that Brisbane 2032 and obviously make those relationships. So what that means, folks, is, again, we're doing this a bit on the fly too. We do know a little bit about it, but we haven't dived into it in a lot of depth. But obviously from talking to Brett and Neil, we do know a little bit. So the likes of bocce, volo, and petanque are all part of this federation. As you said, Simon, I do believe, if my sources are right, and this source can be a bit trustworthy at times, that we were part of this originally and there was a breakaway at some point. But they do hold IOC recognition. Mm-hmm. And they do hold ARISF recognition, and they do hold GAISF recognition. Now, that is Association of IOC-recognized International Sports Federations and the Sport Accord. Now, why is that key? Because all three of those bodies, or those two bodies along with the IOC, are the key bodies involved in decision-making for inclusion of sports into that small event, the Olympic Games, which is what we're pushing very, very hard for Brisbane 2032. So it's another step in the right direction. Doesn't offer up any guarantees, but it certainly shows that World Bowls, the board, the management, everyone involved are really, really trying hard to get this sport of ours into the Olympics. Yeah. So let's hope it works, mate. I mean, we know how great it is. The inclusion factor is a massive, massive selling part of it. And let's hope that extra recognition just means that, we've got a chance of getting in there in the near future.
Yep. And look, it's not only the Olympic Games, that also sort of opens up other avenues of multi-sport events like the Asian Games, European Games. There's other events that happen throughout the world that we can now sort of look at and bowls could be part of. So that opens up more opportunities for the likes of maybe our minnow nations as well as the big boys too, to represent on the global stage and just get as much exposure to non-bowling eyes and get as much people watching our game as we can. So another good opportunity there to promote our sport.
Absolutely. And finally, from World Bowls, they've announced the majority of the starter list for the 2026 World Bowls Indoor Championships to be held in Ocean Grove in Victoria in May, from the 11th to the 16th of May. So that list is there. We're not going to go through that in detail. We might do that a bit closer to the time. A couple of nations there. People will question why have they got 3 entries. Well, Jack McShane gets in there as a defending champion, just for our Australian viewers, but he's going to be joined by Corey Wedlock and Kelsey Cottrell, who won the Australian Indoors just last year. So that's how they qualify for that. And then same for Scotland, Ian McLean and Julie Forrest. They're going to be there. 2 names there. They're joined by defending champion from Scotland, Sophie McGrather. All right. So that's what's going on there. And then they will join and play mixed pairs and everything in that event too. But yeah, we'll get into that in a bit more detail when it comes around. And yeah, but those are up there. One big omission that I did notice at the time, was New Zealand hadn't announced anyone yet. Now a lot of these nations have qualified in, but then within sort of a few hours it was updated, and Boules New Zealand made an announcement, and they're sending 2016 World Men's Singles Champion Shannon McElroy and 2023 World Women's Singles Champion Taylor Bruce. Now, Simon. This is the World Indoor Championships. It will be played on a carpet. They've just come back from playing on a carpet on a portable rink in Malaysia, which is going to be similar to an event later in the year held in Glasgow. If that is not New Zealand bowls showing their hand, I don't know what is.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right. I think you're
right. That is a big tell, I think, on who they want to back going for their singles, and that is 2 fair singles players to be included in that. So it's a great field. Like I said, we don't want to go into too much detail, but we've already said Corey's there, Shannon's going to be there in the men's, Taylor's going to be there, Kelsey Cottrell's going to be there, Sophie and Julie Forrest as well. So big names. Just jump on the World Bowls. Yeah, absolutely. Just jump on the World Bowls Facebook page. You'll be able to see the entry list there. And like we said, we'll do an episode maybe a bit closer to the time and give us a rundown on what's happening there. So, that's all from World Bowls for now. Until another 3 or 4 months down the track, and then all of a sudden they'll announce 5 more things probably. Okay, so Platinum Pennants, mate. Boules New South Wales Platinum Pennants. It has finally had its opening round. Our last podcast was a bit of a look into what was coming up there. Quite a few people have expressed their disappointment that Simon Little is not going to be involved this year.
Yeah, I know. Sadly.
So they are. Oh, well. So, but it is what it is, all good things come to an end, I suppose. Hopefully not this podcast. But yeah, look, mate, did you tune into much from the opening weekend? I mean, it was three rounds to start with, triple header. We had Magic Round and Round 2, where there was, I think there was 1 game on the Friday night streamed, 2 games. This is just Boules New South Wales' stream, because there are other streams out there. 2 streams on the Saturday and then 1 on the Sunday. Did you tune into any of it?
Yeah, look, I had a little quick look here and there. It was a pretty busy weekend, but every time I loaded up Facebook, it was there front and center. So that's what we want. We want plenty of publicity. And look, I jumped on, watched a few ends here and there of some of the games that were on live on the live stream. So yeah, look, some interesting results. Look, after 3 rounds in the first weekend, if you look at the top 5, is there any real surprises? Maybe one, but look, I think the teams that we had thought would make a good start have made a good start, and the teams sort of down near the bottom end are probably the teams that we would expect. So look, no massive upsets at the moment, but look, there's plenty more games to go and a few more rounds to go as well. But what do you think yourself of the opening weekend?
Yeah, man, as you said, it was a pretty good opening weekend. Like we said, 3 rounds off. I didn't tune into too much of the coverage, so I didn't. Just as you said, busy weekend, mate. So we just move on and we tune in where we can. But there were some good little shorts there of Ryan Bester, Nathan Rice, and all that, playing some absolute crackers on the Boules New South Wales Facebook page. So well done to them. I'll just rattle through a few quick ones. So Soldiers Point, one of the new teams, they had Wenty Leagues come and visit them. Wenty came out 9-1 winners there. Carlingford Koalas at home against Cabra at Boules. They were close for a while. I think they actually led early on from what I could see on the old Bowls Link live feeds. If you can't tune in, folks, make sure you get the Bowls Link app. You can watch everything live there. It's absolutely brilliant. I remember doing it last year when I was allowed to do commentary. And we were sitting there doing it. Cabra Boules 9.5 to half there, though. East Maitland Griffins against Belrose was an absolute battle. Up at the home of the Griffins, they came out 8-2 winners, only 3 shots, so only the one rink getting up there for them. St. John's Park against Rima Terrace. Now, I had a good text message conversation with a good friend of mine down there, Mr. AC, and a 6-shot victory to Rima Terrace in the end, but they managed to take the full 10 points out of that, which for St. John's Park, I'm sure that was a little bit disappointing. I think a couple of rinks just went down over the last couple of ends, so that was probably a bit of a downer for St. John's to have such a tight game and come away with nothing, like not even 1 point out of that. Then you had another new team, Charlestown. They had to go away in their first game. They had to travel to Warilla Gorillas. Managed to take 2 rinks off them, though. Only down by 7 shots overall, but it was a 8-2 win for the Warilla Gorillas. And then Maryland's Magic, last year's minor premiers and major premiers, they got off to a 10-0, 71 to 43 shots victory over Engadine Cougars, who, for those that didn't tune in to the last episode, Simon has predicted to go down this year.
Well, my prediction's looking pretty right because they're sitting at the bottom of the table after 3 rounds. With
Hey, we haven't even got to round 2 yet, mate. Stop spoiling it for everyone.
Just saying.
Yeah. So we move on to Magic Round. So how was Magic Round? Oh, Magic Round, everyone went to Soldiers Point. Not bad. First time in the competition getting Magic Round. Belrose Boules, 9-1 win over Engadine Cougars. So 58 to 43. So another 15-shot defeat there for Engadine. At least they got a rink up this time. Wenty Leagues, they got 1.5 points off Raymond Terrace and went down by 4 shots. So Wenty have started off firing.
Yeah.
I just wonder, was the benefit of having to travel up and play there on the Friday night of any benefit to them as well?
Could have been.
Didn't quite get them over the line, but it was there. Charlestown had a very good game the night before against Warilla, but then obviously the travel back up to Port Stevens might have got to them, and Cabra Boules gave them a bit of a wake-up call. Welcome to Platinum Pennant. 67 to 48 win, 10-0. What are you laughing at, Simon? Next one, an absolute magic result on Magic Round for the Carlingford Koalas. 72 to 42 against the Griffins. 10-0 win. Absolutely brilliant there from Carlingford, who have improved this year, and they've obviously just shown that with that result. That was very good. Maryland's Magic didn't have quite of a magic weekend, just like the Carlingford did. They went down to the Warilla Gorillas 9-1. And St. John's Park bounced back, and they got a 9-1 win over Soldiers Point, 61 to 56 there. So Soldiers struggling a bit after round 2 and playing both those games on their home track. Then we move into round 3 on the Sunday, where everyone had to travel around again. So Cabra played at home against Warilla, an absolute titanic battle there. The first 2 grand finalists from the first installment. It was an 80-shot to 55-shot win for Cabra there. It was pretty comprehensive when you think about it. 25 shots between those two and a 9-1 victory. Charlestown against Soldiers Point, the battle of the 2 new teams. Charlestown's first home game, and they made that home advantage count with a 9-1 win over Soldiers Point. Engadine Cougars against St. John's Park. That was a 9-1 win for St. John's Park there at the home of the Cougars. So Cougars, as you said, mate, they are battling a bit, and that was a good result for St. John's Park, bouncing back from that first night where that close loss against Raymond Terrace. And then it was another Newcastle derby with the Raymond Terrace Gents against the East Maitland Griffins. Only 3 shots in this in the end, but it was a 9-1 win for Raymond Terrace. Wenty Leagues started off strong, mate. Carlingford Koalas belted them 10-0, 66 to 44. It was a bit of a turnaround after what Carlingford did the day before to East Maitland. And then the Belrose Boules, they had a home game against the Maryland's Magic, and Maryland's bounced back with a 9.5 to half win. But Simon, there was only 4 shots in that.
Close again, yeah.
Close all around. So obviously there was a 1-rink draw. So it was his way to 20. Just look at that game in detail then. So Aaron Sheriff and Matty Lucas shared a 20-shot all draw. Jack McShane against Dale McWhinney Shillington, 2 of the young up-and-comers, superstars of the game. 23 to 2 in favour of Maryland's. And then the last one then was David Ferguson against Josh Walker Davis with a 28 to 25 win there. So close all around, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it was. And as you said then, buddy, that takes us on to the standings after round 3. Cabra 3 from 3, Raymond Terrace 3 from 3. Cabra just ahead on by a solitary point, 28.5 to 27.5. But the shot differential is 50 better already.
Yeah.
Plus 63. Wenty Leagues, 2 wins, sitting in 3rd spot. They are one of those dark horses this year, 20.5 points. Maryland Magic Maryland's Magic, same again, 20.5 points, but they're 8 shots further back. And St. John's Saints, after that first home defeat, 10-0 in a tight battle with Raymond Terrace, they bounced back with 2 wins, put themselves in the top 5 ahead of the Warilla Gorillas. Same points and only shot differential beating them there. So round it out then, like we said, Warilla were in 6th, Belrose are in 7th, Charlestown in 8th, Carlingford Koalas in 9th, which they'll be disappointed, especially after that Magic round victory. But it's all it seems to be, looking at the results, mate, it was all duck or no dinner for them. So they're just ahead of East Maitland Griffins. They've got 9 points, Carlingford have got 10.5. And then down at the bottom there, Soldiers Point in 11th spot with 3 points, and Engadine down there in 12th spot with 2 points. So my my bold call of Soldiers Point being dark horses, they're going to have to get out of the. They're going to have to get out of the stable. They're going to have to get out of the stable to get going. They're not even in the gate yet. But Engadine will be disappointed, mate. They'll have to bounce back pretty quickly. Made top 5 this year. They'd be very disappointed to only be sitting on 2 points after 3 rounds, but 8 games still to go, so still all to play for there. That leads us into round 4 and 5 will be on this weekend. So round 4, we've got Cabra against Maryland's 5:30 at Cabra. You've got Belrose against Soldiers Point at Belrose. What else we got? Charlestown Tigers against St. John's Park Saints at Charlestown. That'll be a big one for Charlestown. Home field advantage over what we think is a top 5 favourite, but the 2 former marquees of St. John's Park facing up against St. John's Park. That'll be an interesting one. Engadine Cougars get a home game against Carlingford Koalas. Both teams probably wanting to win there. Like Carlingford a bit inconsistent. One massive win and a couple of losses in rounds 1, 2, and 3. And Engadine need to get their show on the road, so they do. So they'll be looking to get a home win there against Carlingford. Raymond Terrace Jets against Warilla in another titanic battle. That's up at Raymond Terrace. And finally, then the live stream game will be Wenty Leagues at home against the East Maitland Griffins. That's on the Friday nights. And then on Saturday, you've got Soldiers Point at home against Engadine. The 2 teams in the bottom 2 spots at the minute, so they'll both need a win there. And it could be even more desperate depending on how the game goes the day before. Warilla Gorillas home against Wenty Leagues. Maryland's Magic home against Charlestown. Carlingford home against Raymond Terrace. St. John's Park home against Belrose. And then the East Maitland Griffins hop at home again against the Cabra Boules. And the Saints versus Belrose is your live stream game at 4 o'clock on the Saturday afternoon. So still all to play for. That'll bring us to almost halfway through the season after this weekend. So, yeah, mate, any standouts there for you? Any games that you're interested to see how they go? Obviously, like the way the season's shaping up, Soldiers Point against Engadine's going to be a big one already.
Yeah. Look, I think some close games there, even after 3 rounds. Like as you said, just a couple of rinks, win by 1, lose by 2. And all of a sudden, that's what it boils down to getting the big board and obviously the big haul of points for that game. But look, that shows you the quality of the competition. And look, I'm glad to see the likes of Charlestown getting a win in the first three games, and the newcomer, one of the newcomers into the competition, getting a win pretty early. So it's good for the competition. And look, it's going to be tight the whole way to the end, whether you're looking at the top bit of the table or at the bottom bit of the table as well. And so, I do like that there is relegation out of it, and potentially new teams coming in as well. So it's not just looking about the top 5 as well. You got to make sure you're getting the wins on the board and getting up the table. So still all to play for with 8 games to go, and looking forward to some tight tussles along the way, and hopefully get tuned in some live commentary. So let's see what happens.
Absolutely. And hopefully, mate, by the time, because we're doing fortnightly podcasts, by the time we come back, there'll be 8 rounds through, and it'll really start to be shaping up as to how that season's going for everyone. Does the weather app say rain? That doesn't matter. Does the weather app say blazing sun? That still doesn't matter. With a MacMax Bowling Green canopy, the only forecast you care about is who's winning the triples on Rink 5. For all weather play, make it a MacMax. Moving on, but sticking very much with Boules New South Wales, and the trial squads were announced this week, Simon,
I did
to
see
be
that.
New South Wales Blue.
Mm-hmm.
So all those players that want to be, they've all gone to Interregion, those that were available, and trialled out or basically played there and been selected to now trial to be a New South Wales Blue in the rest of 2026 for whatever fixtures are coming up. That's men's and women's opens, men's and women's seniors, men's and women's over 40s, men's and women's under 25s, and obviously the powers as well. So plenty of players will be converging on Cabra the weekend of 21st, 22nd of March. So I was very happy to see some Milton City players get some recognition
did see that.
there too.
Very good. Yeah.
So it was good to see them getting involved. And we'll wish them all the best and hopefully get a couple of them into New South Wales Blues uniform for this year. So well done to those that made it. It all starts here now, I suppose. So, and it's just not made it. You just have to look at those trial squads and think, geez, strength and depth.
Yeah,
in New South Wales, especially with some of the players that didn't quite make it this year too, that arguably could be there. So it's we're very, very strong state, and look forward to see how those results go down the track. Yeah, proud to be a born and bred New South Welshman here, Simon. So are you the same, mate? Will that change in the next 12 months? Or are you going to stick with New South Wales?
I'll always be a Blue. Always
be a Blue. Good man. All right, so well done to all those folks, and good luck in those trials down at Cabra in a couple of weeks' time. Speaking of Cabra, they're running their Cabra K Master Pairs,
big
Master
money,
Foresight, or whatever we call it at the minute. Yeah, big money, unbelievable. Sydney Masters side, so the ladder, they've finished all the rounds, and they're heading into the finals as we speak now. So Cabra finished top of the tree, shocking development, just ahead of Warilla, just ahead of Broadbeach, just ahead of St. John's Park, just ahead of Carlingford. Well done, boys. And just ahead of Belrose. That's your top 6 heading on to the playoffs, Simon. So some big names in there. Then just fell short was Charlestown. Well done to Hilly and the boys. They only just missed out by 8 shots in the end. So they've done well getting into there. So, yeah. Have you seen any of the publicity around that, mate? I think Cabra are doing an outstanding job. Not only is it 100K prize money, but there is no stone left unturned in what they are doing down there. They had a sportsman's lunch with the legend that is Boyd Cordner.
Yeah, I did see that.
Doing talking that night. They have got banners left, right, and center everywhere you can look promoting Cabra Bowls Cup. They've got a new trophy this year. Did you catch a glimpse of that?
No, I haven't seen it. What's it like?
1.5 meters tall.
No.
It's made of bronze and stone, weighing in at 250 kilos.
No.
Now, I used to bench that back in the day, but I don't think I could do that now. Honestly, mate, it was on their Facebook page. I don't know if it has a typo.
I'm going to have to have a look to see this.
100. Yeah, mate, it is a white stone. It's got a base and then a column. It's got a dragon wrapped around it. It's got a bronze bolt at the top and it's got the bull lance crawling up as well. It is something to behold. So it is absolutely brilliant. Just while Simon looks that up. And I got to say, they've got Selena involved.
I've just seen it.
There you go. Live reaction, folks.
What about that? That is gold. That literally is gold.
That's fantastic, isn't it? They are going all out for this. I don't see this event going anywhere too soon when you're putting that much money into a trophy like that.
Yeah.
So now, well done, Cabra. Look, they're big supporters of the game, so good on them. I mean, they can make a bit of money and they like to put it back into the sport of bowls, and well done to them for that. And like I said, the promotions around it as well, like everyone's buying into it. I mean, they've got players on the sideline that rightfully could be playing in this competition for other clubs. I mean, Selena Goddard's doing interviews. Selena's world number 1 only 4 or 5 months ago. You know what I mean? Selena's there doing interviews. Yeah. I got to ask though. She's talking to a couple of bins. I thought they were banned, but she's talking to a couple of bins, so I have to speak to Selena about that. But no, look, it's brilliant. After every round, she had an interview with whatever, and sharing it around the clubs too, not even just going to the big names. I mean, seeing a lot of different people getting an interview there, so well done to them. They're promoting it really, really well. Interesting too, they've got, I think we talked about this last year too, actually, I'm having another bit of deja vu. Seems to be happening the more and more episodes we do here, Simon. They've got the Gold Coast and Tweed guys down to do the live stream.
Yeah.
So, I think we talked about that last year as well, so... Yeah, good on them. We'll have to get our own live streaming equipment, Simon. We'll have to start doing some of these events. So we will. What are you reckon?
I think we'll stick to the podcast.
Stick to the podcast? Yeah, it's just another thing I got to get permission for. But yes, well done, Cabra. So they're moving all into the finals, those 6 clubs there, just to reiterate that. It was Cabra, Warilla, Broadbeach, St. John's Park, Carlingford and Belrose. They'll be playing off for that major part of that 100K prize money and to get their hands on that brand new trophy, which Simon has just fallen off his chair as he's found.
You'll need all the players to lift it, get it on the team bus, but
yeah. Right, mate, doing the rounds on social media. Did you see Namibia Bowls? Did you see that? Namibia and Bali.
Bali, yeah. Actually, I'm going there in about 4 weeks' time, DJ.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I might even try and look out Bali Bowls Club. They are doing some refurbs and getting it up and going, aren't they?
Yeah. It looks,
According to their
putting a lot of work
Facebook
into it. Yeah.
post. So
Absolutely. But
I'll have to
the
have a look.
Namibia one that we seen a couple of weeks ago, we've had this on our list to talk about. That was brilliant. Like, just to see the conditions they're in, but a lot of young people playing it just shows
Yeah.
the game. The game's global and it's getting bigger and bigger.
But did you see the kind of surface they're playing on though?
Oh yeah. But see the smiles on their faces, they couldn't care less.
Yeah.
I suppose it's easy when you don't know any different, you know?
Well, that's it.
But yeah, it's just great to see little nations like that contributing and putting into the game. And yeah, it's brilliant. We're definitely spreading. And again, going back to the Olympics, mate, it only helps trying to get it. I don't think there's going to be a gold medalist from Bali anytime soon. But
you never know.
Just having the member nations represented, it only helps our case to try and get into the Olympic Games. Well, so well done, Bali and Namibia.
There is plenty of Aussies over there in Bali, and there's plenty that live over there as well. So you never know. Could be a Aussie Bali kind of bowls prodigy over there somewhere. So look, if you don't have bowls clubs in countries, you never know. So who knows where the next world champion will come from.
Yeah, absolutely. Now let's focus a bit on the TBA, Simon.
Yeah.
You've been busy man with your Boules Academy. The bullesacademy.com for anyone that hasn't tuned in and had a look at that so far. Simon's got plenty of drills and things on there. If you've been listening to the last few episodes, he's been down there at Caringbah Bowling Club doing some coaching, getting them ready for the pennant season. Mate, how's the results going?
Going pretty good. There's only been a couple of defeats. Lower grades are going really well. So look, I'll not take full credit for it, but I'll take a little bit of credit for it. They are off to a bit of a flyer in those lower grades, so well done to everyone down at Caringbah. And obviously one, they were listening to what I was saying and taking it on board, so well done to those. So yeah, look, I've been doing a bit of player development, team development down there at Caringbah. So look, if anyone's interested, anyone from any club, get in touch with me, and I can definitely have a look at how I can help out. And it doesn't have to be within New South Wales, within Sydney. We're reaching out to clubs all over the country. So even if you're internationally as well, reach out to me and we can have a look at how I can help you remotely as well, which is exactly what I'm doing with one of the clubs down at shout out to Christie's Beach Bowling Club in Adelaide. Had a good session with those guys on a Teams meeting the other night. And
that's what we're just about to lead into. But it's not even just about coaching on the green, is it, mate? It's a club advisory thing that you're trying to bring into the Boules Academy as well.
Yeah, it's something that we're looking at, and how can we help clubs? Look, it was initially a bit of like a player development. How can we get better coaching and that kind of role? But when you sit down and think about players and wanting to be more competitive, it's not just about coaching on the green. It's about all the other aspects throughout the club and trying to retain really good players and help those players grow and actually keep those players at your club. So yeah, look, had a really good chat with Christie's Beach Bowls Club and look, they've got a real solid foundation of a club and they want to just be more competitive and retain good players and go up a few grades, and that's hopefully what we'll do over the coming years and build for that. If it's something that resonates with your club, you want your club to sort of strive for something better and build on what you've got or make some adjustments here and there, then reach out and get in touch, and I can certainly look to see how the Bowls Academy can help you on the way.
Simon at thebullesacademy.com if any of that interests you. Right, mate, just as we get towards the end of this bit of a shorter episode this week, that article that I sent you on Facebook again from the ABC News about temperatures of bowling greens by the SAS. Man, like, we know it gets hot.
It gets hot when you're playing bowls,
we know it. Now I'll go into this. Major pairs a couple of weeks ago, mate. That is without doubt the most I've ever been affected by heat. That was fierce. Now, our cutoff is, Simon, what's the hot weather guidelines? I'm putting you on the spot.
Is it 37 degrees?
No, it is 38 degrees for competition play.
Close.
And it's 35 degrees for social play. But that is a heat stress index, folks. So humidity plays a big part in that too. So you got to keep an eye on it. So like even one of those days, the morning games, although it was cooler, because of the humidity, it affected those players more than the ones in the afternoon because of the heat. But I tell you, mate, that was fierce. We were flirting with the 37 quite a lot.
Yeah.
And playing 2 games in a day, it was brutal. So well done to all the players in Maitland City that actually pushed through and did all that. That was That was definitely fierce. And yeah, you can feel it on the green. And the other thing about those temperatures are they're taken from the shade.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't put this thermometer in the middle of the bowling green because, let's face it would have melted.
Yeah.
So I'd shudder to think what it was in the middle of our grass green. But I do always know, like, we've got a lot of plastics and artificials up around our area up here in the Hunter Valley.
Yeah.
And I do know at times being on some of them plastics in the middle of January, February, that can get pretty bold. And like, I love my Drake's Pride Renegades in the black, but that is hard to wear on a plastic green in the middle of January, I'll tell you. It is burning hot. But that article to actually show, what was it? Was it 86 degrees?
It was 80-something degrees, yeah, on one in the corner of the Boules green, in the corner of the green. And I think at the other end it was around 50-something. So the SES service had sent up a drone with the heat signature on it. Don't know the technical name for it, but they were looking at hotspots of temperatures, and just by chance they panned over the bowls club that was nearby, and the bowling green was lit up like a Christmas tree, bright yellow, because of the heat from the surface of the bowling green. Unbelievable.
I think it was 36 in the shade.
Yeah,
36 in the shade, but anywhere up to 80 degrees on the bowling green. So that was an artificial as well.
Yeah,
it was an artificial as well. It wasn't a grass green, so hopefully the grass absorbs it a little bit. But that is just imagine that radiating off the green up underneath you, mate. That is just more reasons for people to be reaching out for those Max canopies that we advertise.
Absolutely.
You know, we don't just do it because they like to sponsor us. They are the best in the business, and by all means, it seems to be the way that sport's going. But by all means, you probably need grants and stuff to apply for those. But get in touch with the guys up at Max, see what they can do for you, because I do not want to be playing in 86 degrees.
No, not surface temperature radiating up into your face when you're trying to play bowls. Yeah.
Mate, I've cooked meats at lower temperature than that.
It's a far cry. It's a far cry from playing in 2 degrees wet whenever you were 15 years old. Back in the old Ulster Transport.
Oh man, I'll never forget the first summer back at home after playing a season in Australia. Everyone's sweltering at Cave Hill Bowling Club. It was at the time, and I've looked at the temperature. It was 24 degrees. Different world back at home, mate. The old bent greens as well. Different world. But yeah, it is a world game, though, like we have mentioned, and we do play it everywhere. We're very blessed to have played it back at home in Northern Ireland and to bring us out here to where we have a world-famous podcast. So what a game we do play, Simon.
Absolutely.
I think I'll do us for this week, mate. I had a good look at Platinum Pennant, good look at Cabra, a lot of the World Bowls events. We'll have a chat to Brett and Neil and see where they are in the world at the minute. Brett still has promised, but Brett still has promised us that trip to the Caribbean. Don't forget that. He did say that on the podcast.
He did
last time around.
That is set in stone. So we'll look forward to that someday.
Stone like the Cabra K Masters trophy. My days, what a trophy! I'd like to see a better bowling trophy in the world, mate. There couldn't be one, could there?
No, I don't think so.
Maybe prestigious wise, like, you know, the old IBA Cup, which we were never lucky to get our hands onto. But my days, that trophy is something to behold, folks. You got to go look it up. Just seeing Simon's reaction there was enough for me. But yeah, that'll do us for this week, folks. We'll try and get some more people on to have a chat over the next couple of weeks. Like we said, big World Bowls event coming up in May, the next World Bowls event. So it'll be World Indoors down at Ocean Grove, Matty Flappers Club. So hopefully we'll get down there, have a bit of chat with Matty, talk about his venue and things like that. But folks, keep tuning in. We love to hear from you. Love to see those follows, likes, and shares going up week on week. So we're obviously doing a good job. We'll be back in a couple of weeks' time with some more of what's happening in TAB Platinum Pennant, what's happening around the greens. And you never know, might be some talking points come up in the next couple of weeks that we'll dive into. But yeah, folks, as always, keep that little disc on the inside.
And good luck on those greens. The views, information, or opinions expressed during What a Load of Bowls podcast episodes are solely those of the individuals involved and do not represent those of any group, organization, or employer associated or affiliated to individuals. This podcast is for general information purposes only, to educate and inform. This podcast does not constitute professional advice or services. What a Load of Boules does not guarantee the accuracy or reliability of any opinions expressed or statements made within episodes.